Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome to the Darkside Detective, point and click satirical detective game, developed by Spooky Doorway and published by Akapara Games. This is a nice little satirical, supernatural, Cthulhu-esque adventure game, like detective mystery game. There is the Darkside Detective 1 and Darkside Detective 2. There are two games in this franchise so far. I'm a fan of them. They have a very Monty Python-esque humour. Like they have that satirical kind of British humour, which I really appreciate. And I thought I'd show them off. We do a little series. The game, this game doesn't take two. The first game doesn't take too long to do. And I thought I'd show the game off, and it would also allow me to get some more of my more complex projects that I have planned sort of up and running. So when either this finishes or Grifflands finishes, probably Grifflands, I can start a different series in its place. And this just gives me a breathing room to sort of get all my chickens in order, so that we can get a nice sort of rhythm moving forward with what's going to come out, because there's a number of things projects I have in the works. So this is just a nice little game to play, and sort of gives me a bit of breathing room to get stuff organised. So let's start, shall we? First things first, let's just go to audio settings. And just turn down the music a little tad. Right. So if we look at the options before we go into it, we have a nice range of languages, as you can see here. We also have police corruption still on. This is going nowhere. You should give up on this. You don't learn, do you? But you see, I like the humour in this game. The humour in this game is very fun. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's a point-and-click adventure game, but it has a lot of Cthulhu elements in it. But here we go. Here are the 6 standard missions, and we have... I have played through this game before, I will say. I have completed the game before as well. But I have reset all my game data to basically have a fresh start for this playthrough. I have unlocked the bonus missions. I don't know if we'll do the bonus missions, because they're not tied into the main story. They're standalone, like, cases that you're investigating. As a detective at the Twin Lakes Police Department, you're in charge. Well, you're one of their few members of their supernatural department, and not taken very seriously in this game. But we'll get to that more later. For now, let us check Malice in Wonderland. Case summary. The chief has sent me to the Jones residence. Dooley is there with further details. Let us dive right into our first case in Twin Lakes. That's a reference to Twin Peaks. Like, this game has a lot of sort of references to supernatural shows and science fiction shows, but it's a fun game. Malice in Wonderland. It has also a nice little picturesque art style. Officer Dooley! Ugh, I almost shot you there, detective. You shouldn't be sneaking around like that. Detective McQueen, Dooley, you watched me drive up. The officer is quiet. I had my siren on, said McQueen. More silence. You waved at me as I pulled in. The silence continues. I guess this place has me spooked out. a little, mutters the officer. So, what happened here? Says the detective. Inquires the detective. Chief Scully just called me up and told me to get here as soon as possible. No details. 7-year-old kid, Alice, went missing a day ago. No signs of her leaving the house, says the officer. Seems to be the kind of spooky crap, the kind of case you're into, detective. Great. Let's get this started then. So let's see. We can go inside the house. We have a basic menu. We can set a squad car. Talk to the officer. Detective McQueen, our trusty squad car. I like to call it the Popo motor. Popo motor, says the officer. Let's check in with Dooley. After you, detective, you know after you, detective, you know whenever standing in the rain stops being fun for you. Nothing else to see here? No, let's go inside. Roy Jones, Officer Dooley. Why is there a hobo dripping all over my carpet? That's Detective Francis McQueen, Mr. Jones. He's here to investigate. I see, Twin Lakes finest, huh? Says the man who smokes a cigarette. Let's have a look. There's an ashtray. I hope you don't smoke around your kids, says Detective. Thankfully, Detective, I'm rarely around my kid. Look at the painting. Nice schooner, says McQueen. Ah, you dummy, it's not a schooner, it's a sailboat. A schooner is a sailboat, Dooley. Let's see, let's talk to Mr. Jones. So, how can I help you, detective? Says Roy Jones. Tell me about Alice. I'll level with you, detective. I don't have many dealings with her. She has a limited conversation pool. C7, says the detective. Exactly, a tedious age. So I leave that to the nanny. He's around here somewhere, says the man. Where were you last night? Why didn't you notice he was missing? Says McQueen. I was out, says Jones. How wonderfully shady. Have you got an alibi? Where I was none of your business, detective. My taxes pay your salary. They also pay for the cell and questioning room I'm going to have Dooley here take you to. The detective. Fine. Call this number. They'll vouch for me. Busty Bella's Booty Boutique. Glassy stuff, says the detective. Ah, Bella's. Fond memory, says the officer. The detective just looks over at him in confusion. I mean, where was he? A Bellsop? What? Splutters the officer. Receive item. Matches. That's all we can get out of him. I've taken much of your time, and I've nothing to say, detective. Kindly leave me be. Let's chat with Dooley. Those folks must be millionaires. So we got some matches. These are matches from Busty Bella's Booty Boutique. This kid didn't win out on the father stakes. Let's try the hallway. Living room, closet, grandfather clock, study. Candelabra. No chandelier. One of those crystals is worth more than we get paid in a year, mutters the detective. You could take one, says the officer. Just to the incredulous look of his superior. Yeah, you passed the corruption test. Well done, detective. Grandfather clock. This reminds me of my own grandfather. Your grandfather was a clock, sir? What? No, he had a clock. Shame, says Dooley. I thought I'd finally found out something interesting about you. What? I'm interesting, says McQueen. Whatever you say, detective. I see you in the closet. Box of junk. A blacklight bulb. May as well take it, says detective. Now all we need is a disco ball and some white clothes and fat beats, and then we've got ourselves a good night, says the officer. A good night is finding this kid, replies the detective. Okay. Let's see what Dooley has to say. Did you follow me into this closet? Says McQueen. You may have had needed backup, says Dooley. Just silence from the detective. Right. Living room, study. Let's go with study. Locked. I wonder where I can find the key. Chandelier. Remember, this is a puzzle game, so we have to figure out the puzzle. Mr. Jones, I want access to your study. I'd love to help, detective, but I seem to have misplaced the key. Sorry. Okay. Let's go upstairs. Daughter's bedroom, master bedroom, flowers. A place with places fancy deserves something nicer than plastic flowers. Telephone. What an odd place for a telephone. We must have run out of places to put it, says the officer. This game is very tongue-in-cheek with itself. But let's try the master bedroom. Poor woman must be worried sick about her daughter, says detective. We'll find a detective. Photo. She seems a sweet kid. Don't worry, we'll find a detective. Waterbed, very fancy, says Dooley. It looks like something is being kicked under here. No, it doesn't, mutters the nanny. You receive an item, strange page. It's a particular pattern from the Occult for Dummies book. Let's talk to the nanny. Tell me about Alice. She's spoiled and sticks her nose where it doesn't belong, says the nanny. That's what having super rich parents will do to you, I guess. What's a nanny doing in the master bedroom? Nothing suspicious, that's for sure. No siree. How long have you been working for the Joneses? Jonases, detective. Even though it ends with an S, we still pluralize it. Is now really the best time, mutters the detective. It's always a good time for grammar, says Dooley. Anyway, onto the question. Nanny McQueen. Long enough to harbour no ill will whatsoever. Yeah, because she's not suspicious at all. Say, you're the nanny. The very innocent nanny, yes. Do you have keys for various rooms? I am a nanny, not a maid. Right, but do you? Yes. May I have the key to the study then? Sure, there's nothing incriminating in there anyway. Family photo. Alice and her mum looks quite happy here. Drawers. Seems impolite to go rough rifling around in someone's drawers uninvited. Radio. Attic. Let's try the daughter's bedroom. Mrs. Jones. Hello, can I ask? My baby is gone. Can you tell me about Alice? She just disappeared, my baby. Is there anything? You have to find her. Find her, screams the woman in tears. Tell me where she is, bear, says McQueen. I'm only kidding, you don't know, you're only a bear. A stupid, know-nothing bear. Let's see. Pens. There's no time for art, detective. Blacklight, this looks useful. You received item blacklight marker. Drawers. I don't have much use for a dozen pink socks. Pony. I've never seen a horse with 5 legs before. Tree. Hey, I know that tree. It owes me $5, says Dooley. Man. A drawing of our suspect. Really? I'll put it out on the APB. No, Dooley, don't do that. Okay. So we can go into the attic. We can go down to the study. Let's go down to the study first. Because we have a key for it. Locked. I wonder. Let's use the key. And here, hey presto, we're in, says McQueen. It's a bit of a mess. Let's see what we've got in here. Painting. Roy Jones, Esquire. It takes a certain type of person to have an oil painting of themselves, mutters McQueen. Lantern. An old oil lantern seems to have some oil left, too. You received the item, a lantern. Dog statue. This statue is ugly enough to be worth a lot of cash, mutters McQueen. Let's see. Bookshelf. A nice collection of books. The dust suggests that they haven't been looked at in some time. For shame. Okay, same. That's the same thing. Let's look at the magazines. His magazine collection. Geez, this guy is obsessed with jugs. Jugs Wheatley, another lovely pair. Armchair. Hey, I just realised that there's only 2 seats in this entire house. Don't be daft, Dooley. There are more. They're just off camera. You can never trust a man who owns too many books. That's what I say. How many books are too many? Says Miss McQueen suspiciously. 6, mutters Dooley. And how many books do you own? Dooley goes quiet. I don't feel comfortable with this line of questioning. Right. So. Do we have any more questions? No, okay. So all we have left is the attic. Down it goes. And here we are on the roof. Oh, in the attic, I should say. Boxes. It's a bunch of forgotten memories. Broken shelf. Looks like this gave way recently. Spilled a paint thinner all over the wall. Paint thinner. The paint thinner fell from the shelf. The paint thinner fell from the shelf when the shelf gave way. Not much left in it now. We retrieve paint thinner. Can of paint. Paint cans. Both look heavy enough to knock someone out cold. Okay. Broken lamp. Maybe not be broken after all. Just a blown bulb. No, we have a blacklight bulb. Let's try that. Hope this doesn't receive someone's attic shame. What the hell? Says Dooley, as the bulb illuminates a hidden door. Well, that doesn't look ominous at all. Got a piece of paper here. Let's try with the doorway. Okay, I seem to have everything I need. Let's get down to some spooky hijinks and redraw those missing symbols. Okay, so we need, let's see, we need a squiggly one. That's already in place. So we need this one here. We need this one. And we need one that has 2 dots and the center bit missing in the bottom left corner. Here we go. That should do it. That should be it, says McQueen. Great, he mutters unsure as the door darkens. Maybe now it's a good time to stop doing, well, anything really, mutters Dooley uneasily. Darkside doorway. Even I'm not foolish enough to go in there with no light. It'd be more useful if it were lit. So we have some matches. Let's combine the items. I should probably light this thing, you know, just in case. Now we go in. Okay, Dooley, let's do this. No offense, detective, but I'm going nowhere near that creep fest. I'll stand guard out here. Pile of junk, boxes, a box marked baby's first occult robes. Pile of junk. Don't look in there, mister. That's where the 3-eyed rats hide. Cans. The label says old milk circa 1880. Why would you store that? But here's the kid. Alice. Hey, mister. Hey, kiddo. Are you here to take me home? Yep, says the detective. Good, I'm hungry and the sounds from downstairs are scaring me. Yeah, let's get out of here. Crash, bang. Not so fast, detective, says Nanny McFeed. Where's Dooley? That idiot, I knocked him out. I can't have you snooping around anymore, so I'm going to trap you here. At least take the girl. Oh, I'll intend to. I'm her legal guardian, after all. It's my job to look after her, especially if anything should happen to her parents. Say, for example, they're getting trapped in a Darkside version of their bedroom. It's where they'd be now if Alice hadn't gotten into my stuff and stupidly trapped herself up here. I figured it would be best to lay low until you had gone. I thought you'd have given up by now. What kind of cop would give up on a missing kid? Most of the TLPD, so that's Twin Lake Police Department. Sadly fair, mutters detective. So that's what it is. An inheritance scam. You have to admit, it's a fairly perfect crime. It is, actually, admits the detective grudgingly. Even if you do get rid of me, then what? Alice knows what you're up to. She's a smart kid. Is she so smart she knows to keep her mouth shut? Snapped the nanny. Once Dooley wakes, you and your scheme will be done for. Nah, good point. I just have to go get. Good point. I'll just have to get you to drag him in here with you then. Come on. Okay, drag your friend in here, and no funny business. So we could do that. We could try talk to the nanny. Let's try talk to the nanny. Don't waste time trying to sweet talk your way out of this. The officer's unconscious. Alice, I'm scared, mister. It'll be okay, kiddo. And here's the paint thinner. Let's throw it at the doorway and smudge the paint. Have a taste of your own medicine, says the detective. No, screams the nanny, as you coat the doorway in paint thinner. Officer Dooley looks around. So, the kid got into the nanny's stuff and accidentally used it to trap herself in that creepy attic, he says. The dark side, but that's a surprisingly succinct summary of things, yes, mutters McQueen. Saying the nanny was certifiable, she was a looker. Dooley, she was dabbling in the dark arts, counters the detective, with a plan to trap innocent people in a parallel world. Kidnap their kid and steal all their cash. I said it was a scheme. I said it was a shame. Jeez, mutters Dooley. Detective just wrings his head. I wonder where the nanny got the occult book from anyway. That stuff is hard to find these days. A case for another day, I guess. First of all, we have to figure out what kind of paperwork covers this mess. And that is the end of the first case. Case 1, The Malice in Wonderland, solved. On to Case 2, Home Alone. Case summary. Dooley suggests a visit to the library. He must have seen the same strange storm gathering over it. Let us start our investigation. Home Alone. McQueen. Okay, what's the case, Dooley? Fill me in. Case? No. I have some overdue books the books to drop back, says the officer. So that purple swirling vortex thing above the building has nothing to do with why we're here, says McQueen. Ah, come on now, detective. You're hardly going to arrest the weather. The things you'll try to do to justify this department. The detective glares at the man. Let's get this over with, says the officer. Let's look at the statue. Plaque. It's a library. What a helpful plaque. Those statues make me uncomfortable. They're not very welcoming. They should at least be reading a book or wearing glasses or something, mutters Dooley. Before this was a library, it was where the mayor kept her lying collection, says McQueen. Oh right, that clears that up so. Vodka. How many cases do we need to solve, do you think, to get a car that doesn't leak in the rain? It keeps us fresh, sharp, even, says McQueen. Let us go inside. Officer Dooley, fines for being late. How are books late? It's not like they have places to be, mutters the officer. Librarian Doris, you're not charming your way out of this, Patrick. Rules are rules. Can't we come to some kind of arrangement? Do you have any parking tickets you want to see go bye-bye? Detective just groans. Dooley, are you trying to bribe your way out of a fine? No, stammers the officer. Here's an arrangement for you. I'll drop your fines if you arrest those troublesome kids, mutters the librarian Doris. Kids, says McQueen. The ones who are responsible for the storm and, you know, the ghosts, mutters the librarian. Ghosts? What? Okay, silence. Silence. Shush, mutters the librarian. Flickering lights. These blowouts seem like they'd make for frustrating reading conditions. A potted plant. For a certain angle, it looks like Dooley has a crazy hair. Books. Is this your to-read pile? Oh, I've read all those. The desk is missing a leg, so I'm using them to balance out the computer. What were you saying about ghosts? The place is haunted, you know. The usual stuff. The usual, mutters McQueen. Flickering lights, floating books, strange noises, eerie purple storms. It's chasing off the readers. And you say a kid is to blame? He's the only one here often enough, suspiciously often, if you ask me. I'll look into it. Do, or else I'll call a pair of oddball priests and/or a questionable ghost-busting startup to come fix this. I wonder who they could be. What books did Dooley borrow? He had Rules to Rave 2, Roswell, New Mexico, where the aliens really experimented on us. And the law, what is it, and do we really need it? Hey, what happened to librarian reader privilege? Not a real thing, buddy. I take it you gave up on the law book? Not enough pictures, mutters the officer. What's that you're reading? Skylight, the heartbreaking tale of a girl who falls in love with a reverse vampire. Of a what now? Reverse vampire. He can only come out during the day. The detective just looks bemused. I'm at the part where it's her prom night and he promised to take her, but the clocks went forward and now it's on at night. What happens if he goes out at night? He gets really sleepy, mutters Doris. Sounds interesting, says Queen. What? It sounds awful, detective. Two people just look at the officer. If you need anything else, I'll be here, unless I'm not, says Doris. Let's try the office. Coat rack. Looks like some of these coats have been here for years. We should go through the pockets, says Dooley. The detective looks at him. You know, for evidence. You receive item button. Look at the bin. Roses are red, violets are blue. Your learning rights are revoked due to books overdue. Photocopier. An old photocopier. Can't imagine this gets much use. Oh, it does. When you renew your card each year, Doris takes a photocopy of your butt for the records. Everyone's butt, says McQueen. Just mine, now that I think about it. That's the price of working out, I guess. Calendar. I got this for Doris last time I had to get out of paying fees. I am going to have to up the ante this time. You put a picture of her face over the model. Lamp. Even the lamp is flickering. Office supplies. Never know when I need to cut something in half or lazily approximation of half. You receive item scissors. Computer. A computer seems to be broken. It's not broken, it's hollow, so they can store more books in it. Okie dokie. Let's try the elevator. An old elevator. Where's the staircase? We have none. There was a fire, and ironically, the fire escape was the only thing that was destroyed. The detective just looks at the librarian. Okay, so horror we can't go to. Reception, science fiction and fantasy, children, reading room, hobby. Let's go to the second floor. Another plant. What odd leaves these plants have. What oddities that plant has. That's just the dead tree, but Doris dries his socks. Statue. Don't blink. Ah, Doctor Who reference. Let's go to science fiction and fantasy. Sword and shield. If we lived in the medieval times, we'd be living the adventures of ye Darkside bailiff and his squire Dooley. Fantasy books. Glum tales for sad adventurers. Chessboard. What a great game, huh? Yeah, funny looking drafts pieces though. McQueen just looks at the officer. Okay, so they're moving on their own. Library card. How convenient. I have expected to go through a series of semi-logical puzzles to get this. You received old library card. Library card of one smug-faced Paul Conway. Right, science fiction books. Fantastic orbit. Drowned in moonlight. Strangled by her own bra. Rocket. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was younger, until I found out that they had to go into space. Looks like some of the rocket's aluminium has come off. That could be useful. Seed metal strip. Back to the hallway. There's nothing else to investigate, so let's go to the next room. Children's section. Little Devon. What about this one? The words are short, and I think it can read the whole book from one cover to the other cover. There is silence. Oh, Little Devon. Oh, is that suitable for my age range? I read a book about books for my age range, and they're all books about boys and wizards and talking dogs. More silence. Okay, I'll try it. I hope I like it, because I've read all the books about boys and wizards and talking dogs in here. Let's look at the robot. I hope I get to have a pet robot someday, mutters McQueen. Too many responsibilities, feeding it, rubbing its belly, teaching it to overthrow humanity. Why would you teach it that? Says the detective. I want to be on their good side when the inevitable happens, muttered the officer. Let's talk to Little Devon. Who are you talking to, kid? Says the officer. I'm not telling you anything. I've heard what happens to people who do a snitch. Modern media is really making our job hard, mutters McQueen. McQueen looks at the books. Why your parents don't love you? The teddy bear. You look familiar. Have I arrested you before, says McQueen. Floating book. Well, that's not right. Neat trick. What magic book did you learn that from, kid? It's not magic, it's... There's silence. Nothing. Letters. A, B, C, as easy as 4, 5, 6. Detective McQueen looks at his officer. More books. Bad baby incites a riot. Dinosaur. The dust is wrong under this. Makes me think it was moved recently. Viewmaster. A Viewmaster? I loved those as a kid. I'll take this and see if I can find a use. It's times like these that I miss walking the beat. Let's see what we get. An old view filming toy. Let's just try and combine it, maybe. Let's call that Plan B. Little stripes. I'll try something else. Okay, so those two don't go with that. So that's been moved recently. It's a vent. There's a cold draft coming from the vent. That can't be good for the kid's health. Okay. Back to the hallway. Let's go to room 3. Or level 3. Painting. Professor Theodore Library, inventor of the library. Nope, not one word of that is true. Do you have one brown coat you wear all the time, or a wardrobe full of the same style? Let's go to the reading room. Detective McQueen. Oh, hello, miss. I wasn't expecting anyone to be here. Oh, hello. My name's Rarak. Rax? Yeah, let's go for Rax. I'm here to study the strange goings-on. I guess that's why you're here too, Detective. Sure, that's me. Always investigating stuff, on purpose. Want to share what you found? Well, it's not much, but there seems to be a strange concentration of energy in the next room. I'm searching the internet for a way to be able to see whatever it actually is. Well, let me know if you find anything. Chalkboard. Who doesn't need chalk in the 21st century? Most people. Countess Dooley. A fair point. Let's see what Dooley has to say. You look uncomfortable, Dooley. It's this whole reading room thing. I mean, should we be reading right now? Can I not read anywhere else? Does the room itself read? And if so, what does it read? You have a special mind, Dooley, states McQueen. Chief Scully says that's why she assigned me to your department. Rax's books. I hope there's nothing contraband in this pile. I wish. The detective looks at the girl. You know what I mean. Clock. Times always seems to stand still in boring places like libraries. Rax. So, ghost hunting, Detective. That's classified. Because there's a whole bunch of eerie mumbo-jumbo going on here. So you've noticed then, says McQueen. I'm majoring in occult at TLU. You can do that? I thought all that stuff was banned. Somebody has to catalogue and ban it all, Detective. Right, mutters the officer. It's all fairly hush-hush. So what does one study with occultism? Whatever you want. I went with computer science, so I wouldn't be studying too impractical subjects. Good call, Rax. From experience, I can tell you that the occult doesn't pay much. Let's try the microfilm room. Filing cabinet. Why would anyone else have so many filings that they need a cabinet to store them in? Microfilm reader. It's broken. If I want to look at any microfilm, I need to find another way to do so. Box of microfilm. It's radiating energy, like Rax said. I think it might be a clue, possibly. There's just too much here to take. Even my pockets have their limits. Computer. Let's see what we can find online. Don't say the magic word. Enter the password. Looks like I need to figure out the password. Need to go and talk to the librarian, probably. I'll go to the next room. Hobbies and DIY. Hobby books. Turning duct tape into pants. Make your nevers sustainable. You've got mannequin. Looks like he's jumping. You jump too if somebody shoved a pole up your behind. Paintings. Wait a minute. These are printouts of children's art. Look at Mr. Moneybags in his deep pockets, rich enough that he can pay children artists for original works for Sky. Jeez. Okay, so that's the same thing. Let's grab some glue. Somebody seems to have left some glue here. It's no duct tape, but it could be useful. Pots and brushes. Why are these fake? Well, you can't have kids painting over the books. Let's see if we can combine anything. Let's try the metal strips and the scissors. Glue in the metal strip. Okay, that's not going to be working. DIY books. How do you DIY yourself? I'm really good at DIY. I get my sister to do it for me, says Dooley. But here we are, folks. This is, I think, a good point to make, or to pause for the day. This has been the Darkside Detective. I've been Cornish-knight, and we are in the middle of our second case. The case of the Haunted Library. Will our pair of rather oddball investigators manage to get out of this? Who knows? I've been Cornish-knight. This has been the Darkside Detective, and I shall see you all again next time. Goodbye.